Well, another round of Pfizer documents have dropped. This is part of the 340,000 some odd pages the FDA and Pfizer wanted to release over the course of several decades. But instead, the group requesting the documents sued, and a judge ordered the FDA to make them available by the end of this year. Well, each round of documents is to be delivered on the 1st of each month, so this past April 1st, no joke, over 11,000 pages were released. Between these documents and another document released on March 24th to the group, a group called Public Health and Medical Professionals for Transparency, we've learned some bombshells. The first bombshell in the document is that natural immunity works and Pfizer knows it.
Don't you love this stuff? I mean, this is what's so, like, part of me gets frustrated. Like, the idea that we have to wait for them to say the thing we already know. And we don't. We know that. But a lot of people have heard us say this and have shouted us down and said, you're fake news, you don't know, you're not a doctor, we're the peer review side, like over and over and over and over. Or that masks don't work. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it just, to a level, it's frustrating that it has to come to this point. But this is what we're here for. We've known this from the beginning. The scientists said this unequivocally for the longest time. I mean, NIH, Nature, Science, I mean, all the largest, even the Lancet, for crying out loud. So why is it now only proven once Pfizer releases a document that just says the same thing that we've already proven with scientific peer-reviewed research? Like that, first of all, this is just Pfizer saying that. So why would their statement on a piece of paper be more valid than 45 different peer-reviewed studies? Want to cuss really bad right there. Very frustrating. But thank God somebody like Kim is in this position to be able to push this out, because I promise you those two would not have even cared if she wasn't there to make it happen.
The clinical trial data showed those with previous infection of COVID had no difference in outcome than those vaccinated. In the limited trial, none of the vaccinated nor those with previous infection resulted in severe disease defined by either the FDA or the CDC. They were broken up into two different groups. The FDA and the CDC define severe COVID slightly differently. The CDC roughly defines it as anyone needing hospitalization, whereas the FDA defines it as anyone needing supplemental oxygen. Either way.
Now, why would that even be... These small things that are not as important when you're talking about these bigger discussions, but think about that for a minute. This is the same as having different levels of PCR. Like, it's meant to be ridiculous. There is nothing that means anything if every single location does it their own way, right? Why, with something so obviously relevant, would you just define it differently? Wouldn't it make sense for them to get together and be like, well, that makes sense. Let's agree on a definition for what's severe. I mean, you can't see that as anything other than what it is. That way there's wiggle room. Because these people are dishonest. It's that simple.
Among Us.
There were 0 cases of severe COVID in the natural immunity group, whether they were vaccinated or not. And their own data also showed that natural immunity was statistically identical to the vaccine against infection.
Now see, that I just simply can't take at face value. I cannot. That is impossible to me. Now, the only reason I say that is because, one, natural immunity has been shown every single main outlet possible scientific, showing you that it's just exponentially better. Especially since these things have already been shown to just dissipate immediately. And that was during Delta 2.
Among Us.
So this seems a little self-serving, not from her, from what she's saying, but from what the paperwork is saying, that these things have the same. It's almost like, while admitting that natural immunity finally works, they're bringing up the value of their own thing. Fake news. I don't buy it for a second, because not only what I just said, but how about all the other things that we now know, which I'll get into next? The unbelievable prevalence of blood clots, heart attacks, myocarditis, I mean, Bell's palsy. I mean, I could go on forever.
Among Us.
So just recognize that there's no way that's possible. This thing is not natural immunity in regard to anything you're dealing with, in my opinion, with what we know has already come out of these things, is exponentially better. Now, yes, that's my opinion, but I think the evidence we've shown you over the process of 2+ years is undeniable to show you that what your body already does is way better than what they're trying to manipulate it to do. Now, we can get into a different conversation of other normal, but if you want to call them that, vaccine technology. I actually still disagree with that for a lot of other reasons, but I don't want to conflate the two because they are different. We're talking about mRNA injections specifically, and it's just a no-brainer.
Among Us.
Dangerous. And that is what's coming out. All of this stuff. Now it gets better. or worse, however you want to look at it.
That's what their data showed. Yet, rather than say people with natural immunity don't seem to need the vaccine, which is what they've been saying in Europe, for example, Pfizer instead spun their conclusion and said, quote, final efficacy results show that the vaccine provided protection against COVID-19 in participants with or without evidence of prior infection with SARS-CoV-2.
Among Us.
Now, not just that. That then got spun even further by literally every single brainless Western press pundit out there that screamed you down for saying, oh, you're fake news. That's dangerous. That's dangerous misinformation. We were censored, in fact, and removed from platforms for spreading that so-called dangerous misinformation. Over and over. Right?
Among Us.
We now know, and we should have already known, that they knew from the beginning that they she said, zero incidents of any kind of serious problem with people that had natural immunity, whether or not they got it. That literally got spun into that doesn't exist, that it's actually dangerous to even discuss the theory of natural immunity. Do you not realize how incredibly dangerously dishonest that is? And I mean, why? See, this is the kind of thing that gets me frustrated. This one point alone should change the entire dynamic. Okay, now it came out. We now can prove that the media Western apparatus was either dangerously wrong and shouldn't be trusted anymore, or chose to lie.
Among Us.
Nope. Keep stepping forward. All the people that want to keep lying, and all the people that want to buy, keep buying, and we live in a fake reality. Just like with WMDs in Iraq. Why didn't that just completely topple the entire Western apparatus? Because they're not really caring what you think. Because all the people that lied about Iraq got promoted. And everybody that got right still got pushed down. Even as they got right. Look at Syria, look at Afghanistan, you just keep going forever. They knew, probably to some degree. Now they certainly know, but they still look back and go, well, here's why we were not incorrect. We were with the information at the time. No, you weren't, because we had information at the time that showed that was false. You ignored it, you censored us, didn't care. But they know all this. It is frustrating.
Another revelation from the document is that adverse reactions were more frequent in groups. The document reads, quote, reactions to publicity and generally milder and less frequent in participants in the older group compared with the younger group, and overall to increasing dose. Further defined by the study.
Increasing with increased doses. So the more you get, the worse it is. Right? And this is the obvious, guys. This is admitting that this is a problem for the least at risk. The lower you go, the worse it gets. But we force it on them because we don't know. Because safety. I mean, guys, it doesn't matter whether these people bought the lies or not. This is criminal level activity. We all know that. But get ready for literally no accountability at all. Despite the fact that this is being pointed out in real time. Now, understand again, this is why I'm showing you the clip here instead of breaking down Pfizer, because we know all this already. We don't need Pfizer to write it on a piece of paper for us to know what the science and other information around it already showed us.
Itself was for 16 and above, so the side effects were more frequent and more severe in people under 55, even though Among Us. COVID.
In fact, 1 in a million chance of dying if you're under 19, according to Oxford's calculators for COVID-19. 1 in a million. Which colloquially means, impossible. That's 1 in a million. Right, but we're going to give them a shot. It has a much, much, much higher chance of causing a mortal case of myocarditis. That's easily verifiable. I've just gone over this intensively.
Among Us.
But why does that make sense to anybody? Because of the unknown?
Among Us.
These people who are waking up at some level under pinprick to realizing that they have been doing I wonder if they
Among Us. Among
I
Us.
think some of them weren't aware they were
Among Us.
But
Among Us.
Which makes it even worse.
Among Us. Among Us.
Have a 99.993% chance of surviving COVID. A 30-year-old is at 99.943%. At 50, the survivability is 99.572%. Only once you hit 60 does it drop below 99%.
So think about how ridiculous that sounds. This is the biggest pandemic of a century? No. Very, 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 very obviously not. You don't just get to throw out hypotheticals to go, well, we don't know long COVID and